Mother of the story time, sail me on your silver boat, sailing silently as I pray. Sail me on your silver boat, Mother of the fairy tale. Two kings' sons, once upon a time, set out into the wide world to seek their fortune. But before long, they fell into a wasteful, foolish way of living. And so, they were not invited back into the kingdom. Their younger brother, who was a simpleton and a dwarf, set out to find his brothers. And before long, he did find them. But they just shook their heads, saying, "How could you, a simple dwarf, make it out in the wide world, when we, who are so strong and so wise, could not?" But nevertheless, they all set out together down the lane. And before long, they came to an anthill, where there were many ants playing about, enjoying themselves. Well, the two older brothers wished to pull the anthill down, as to see the ants scurrying around carrying their eggs. But the younger brother said, "Let the poor things enjoy themselves. I will not let you hurt them." And so, the brothers set off down the lane together, once again. And this time, they came to a lake. They came to a lake where there were many ducks swimming about. Well, the two older brothers wished to capture two of the ducks so that they could make roasts out of them for dinner. And the younger brother said, "Let the poor things enjoy themselves. I will not let you hurt them." And so they abided, and the three brothers set off down the lane one more time. This time, they came to the hollow of a tree where there was a bee's nest, and there were many bees flying about. And out of the top of the bee's nest was so much honey that it was flowing down the trunk of the tree. Well, the two older brothers wished to set fire to the trunk of the tree as to drive the bees out so that they could have all the honey to themselves. But the younger brother said, "Let the pretty little insects enjoy themselves. I will not let you hurt them and ruin their home." And so they set off down the lane again. And before long, they came to a castle. And as they went through the castle gates, they looked at the stables. And there were many horses in the stables, but they were all turned to stone. Well, they went into the house and they did not notice any humans about. And they went from room to room until at last they came to a door, which had 3 locks on it, and a little wicket or a window that they could peer through. And on the other side of the door, there was sitting an old gray man at a stone table. They called to him once. They called to him twice, but he did not come. But then on the 3rd time when they called to him, the old gray man got up, came and unlocked the door and opened it up. Now, he did not say a word, but instead took their hands and led them down the hall to another room. And in this room was a great stone table where there was much to eat and drink. And so the brothers all sat down and for hours enjoyed themselves. At last they became tired, and so the old gray man led them to their bedchambers, where they all went to sleep. The next morning, the gray man came up, and he fetched the older brother from his bedroom and brought him down, where there was a large table, and on it 3 stone tablets. These tablets contained the means of which to break the spell of the castle. On the first tablet it said, "Out in the forest, under the moss, there are 1,000 pearls belonging to the beautiful king's daughter. You must find all 1,000 of the pearls by the set of suns, or you will be turned to stone." And so the older brother stepped out into the forest, and before long he started gathering the pearls. But by the set of sun, he had only gathered 100 of the 1,000 of pearls.
No, he didn't.
Just barely 100. And so he was turned to stone. Well, the next morning, the second oldest brother also set out into the forest and looked for the pearls. But alas, just like his brother, he had only found the second 100 of pearls. And so he, too, was turned to stone. Now it was the young dwarf's turn, and he set out into the forest. And before long, he began gathering as many pearls as he could. But he grew very tired very fast. And he sat down on a stone, and he began to cry, for he was so tired. Well then, the king of ants came, the king of ants whose home he had saved, and he had brought 5,000 of the other ants from the colony. And all of the ants quickly began to gather all the pearls, and within only a couple of minutes, they had gathered all of the pearls and set them in a heap at the foot of the younger brother. Well, the younger brother went back to the old gray man, and the old gray man told him what was on the second tablet. It said, "You will come to a lake, and at the bottom of the lake is a key. You must fish the key out from the bottom of the lake and bring it to me." Well, as the young dwarf approached the lake, there were the 2 ducks who he had saved from becoming roasts, and they immediately, presently, dove down to the bottom of the lake and fetched the key and brought it back up and gave it to him. Now, on the third stone tablet, it said, "In the princess's bedchambers, there are 3 princesses asleep. Now, you must figure out which of the princesses is the youngest." Now, the oldest princess ate a bit of sugar before she went to bed, and the middle princess ate a bit of sweet syrup, and the youngest princess ate a bit of honey. But all of the princesses are equally identical and equally beautiful. But the young dwarf knew if he could figure out which princess had eaten the honey, that was the youngest one. So up to the bedchambers he went. And as he entered the bedroom of the princesses, in flew the queen bee from the hive he had saved from being set aflame. And there, she flew around the room. Julie,
I'm watching you.
Finish the story. Now the queen bee flew into the room, and she landed on the oldest princess's lips. Then she landed on the middle princess's lips. And then quietly, she landed on the youngest princess's lips, and there she stayed, for she could smell the sweet smell of honey. And so the young dwarf knew that was the youngest princess. And presently, the entire castle, the spell was broken, and all who was turned to stone was now returned back to their human form. And all rejoiced. And the youngest princess and the dwarf were married, and the 2 older brothers were married to the 2 other princesses. And they all lived happily ever after. Mother of the fairy tale, sail of the fairy tale.
It's taken another video.
Okay, turn it off, Gianni.